All right, thank you. It is Monday, December 16th, 2024. I call this meeting of the Needham Design Review Board to order. I'm the board chair, Mark Glusing. I'd like to confirm that all members and applicants are present and can be heard. So members, when I call your name, please respond. There he is, Steve Dornbush. I see you floating there, Steve. We'll let you catch up.
Here.
There.
Sorry, I don't know what.
Susan Upton,
Here.
Lily Pradhan.
Here.
Okay, also attending is our town staff, Lisa Lichman. Applicants on the agenda, please respond. Some of you have a bigger team, but I just need one. 18 Highland Circle.
Here.
1257 Highland Ave, Conrad's Restaurant. Let's see.
Here, Mike Corbella.
880 Highland Ave, Blue on Highland.
Scott Drago here.
And 1502 Highland Avenue. Tom.
I think that's me. Is that for Kimba?
Yep. 63 Kendrick Street.
Yep, we're here.
Okay, great. Hi, George. Thanks. Welcome to this open meeting of the Needham Design Review Board, which is being conducted remotely, consistent with state orders. The orders allow public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Needham Design Review Board is convening by Zoom app, as posted on the town's website and the DRB page, identifying how the public may join. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this board are available on the town's website. Public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. This meeting is being broadcast to the town's YouTube channel and also via Zoom, and is being recorded for publication, later viewing, and administrative purposes. Be aware that other people may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer unless the chair approves. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. I would like to review the remote procedures for tonight's meeting. I will introduce each applicant on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, we will take comments or questions from the Design Review Board members. After discussion, each vote will be by roll call vote. The Building Department requires electronic submission of building permit applications. A copy of your application stamped and noted for the type of approval that you receive will be emailed to you by the DRB support staff. That can then be attached to your building permit application. So we will start tonight with the first item on the agenda. We did notice that we continued a public hearing for CVS Pharmacy, 980 Great Plain Avenue, from our last meeting. They are not ready to attend, so we will continue them again to our January 13th, 2025 meeting. The next item on the agenda is 18 Highland Circle for exterior facade changes. Maria, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Would you like me to share my screen?
Sure, you can take us through.
Okay.
Thank you.
It says host disabled participant screen sharing. You're muted, Elisa.
She'll get it in a second.
Okay. Anyway, the front of 18 Highland Circle has rotted wood on it, and we would like to remove the rotted wood and replace it with vinyl siding. Yeah, it's still disabled.
You know, I'll do it for you. Hold on.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the front of the building as it is now. I don't know if I'm seeing what you put there or what I put there, but anyway, this is the front of the building. This is the color that we want to replace the vinyl siding.
Okay, what's she sharing? I'm sorry, hold on one second, Maria. Was she sharing? Can she share now, Elisa? I'm happy to do it.
She should be able to.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so this is the color of the siding. The manufacturer is Main Street. And this is the area that we will be replacing the wood with vinyl siding, all the light cream color. So it's the same color as what's there now, and the red trim won't change. The overhang over the entrance won't change. And this is what it looks like now. And you can see if I zoom in, you can see the wood is rotted.
Okay,
So I don't know if you have any questions.
okay. Yeah, well, let me run through the board. Millie, any questions or comments?
Not at this moment.
Steve?
No, it looks very straightforward. It will be a nice improvement.
Yeah, Susan?
No questions.
Yeah, okay, I guess I just got a couple. Are you going to, it looks like the lower windows are kind of untrimmed. Are you going to add trim to those?
No, I believe he's removing the shutters. And I don't think he's putting any trim.
Okay,
Yeah, no, there's no trim shown on his plan.
okay, well, if you go back to that photo
Yeah,
for a second, you can just see that above that window on the left, the bottom of those vertical siding pieces is very irregular, which is going to contribute to the water problems you had. So just make sure that they get it flashed properly, because I think that's part of the issues that you've had. But otherwise, I don't have any objections to or other comments. As Steve said, it's a fairly straightforward repair. Millie, did you have anything?
No, all good.
Okay. So I would take, I didn't set this up today, but I would take a motion to approve the facade changes to 18 Highland Circle as submitted.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, and we come to the vote. Steve,
Yes.
Millie,
Yes.
and Susan.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Maria. Say hi to Carmelo.
thank you.
The next item on the agenda is signage for 1257 Highland Ave, Conrad's Restaurant.
Yes, I'm not sure who else, I know Dennis Hayes or, but I'm Mike at our Crivello Sign Company,
Okay,
if I can answer any.
I'm Bobby Conrad, the owner. I'm just sitting in watching Mike do his magic.
Yeah, hi Bob. Thanks.
do you want to show us what you're going to do?
Yeah, so, can you see a screenshot from, how do I flip this around? Not too good on Zoom meetings there, but can you see this?
You know what, why don't I just share what your submission was?
Okay. Yeah, it's just the landowner, and I guess he just wants kind of like a new scheme up here, paint scheme. So I don't know if you can see, that's what was there before, and you know what we're proposing is this. You know, they changed the color of the beige to the gray tones, and let's see if I can get this.
Well, I've got it up now, so.
Yep. Oh, okay. So basically we are replacing, you know, like the channel letters on a raceway to flush mounted reverse channel letters. And then they'd be externally lit with, like a 10-foot raceway with, 3 lamps to, they kind of like goosenecks, a little more sleeker than, I got a cut sheet on that, I don't know. The landowner actually just updated me with, the specs on the lamps, but they're low voltage, goosenecks.
Yeah, we can sort of see them in this illustration on one of
Yeah.
the pages. There is no existing lighting there external like that.
Well, what was there before was, it was actually the Bertucci's. It was, yeah, so it was externally lit.
Were they internally illuminated letters or did they have a fixture?
They were in fact, this is it right here. Do you see that? So they
Yeah.
were channel letters in a raceway.
Okay, so you're adding this the light fixtures.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
I believe Paul Dawson is the one of the owners of the plaza. They kind of wanted to, you know, especially since Conrad's is coming in, they want to kind of give that whole entire front all the way down to the liquor store kind of you know, the same type of signage moving forward. They want everything uniform. But Conrad's is pretty much my you know, the first thing right now that they would like to get done.
okay. Yeah, we reviewed the facade changes a couple meetings back with that applicant. All right, so I'll go to the board for questions. Steve?
I'm looking at it, it's clean and simple, which are always my favorite. I really don't have any questions.
Okay. Susan?
I second that.
Okay. Millie?
Yeah, no questions either.
Okay, I guess my only question is it's hard to read. They're coming in with sort of a color change and they created that sign band. And you don't quite stay in that sign band, which is just an alternate color. Is there a particular reason, or were you just trying to max out the square footage?
Well, I think
like 31.9.
right, they wanted to max out the and they figured we're, I mean, I'd say it, you know, the lesser two evils is just keeping it there and kind of giving, you know, breaking that since the nature of the logo, you know, breaking that darker border at the top. I think aesthetically it looks pretty good, and like I say, it's keeping within the square footage that they're allowing.
Okay, would have been nice to have a submission of that fixture as well, but that's, I think I know what this is based on when we spoke with Paul Dawson, what they were trying to do, so I have some memory of that. But that would have been helpful. But I'm not gonna, I think we can move through this without that particular information. I guess I just check with the board. They're okay. We're going to get some other applications for new signage on this facade as they change these over. So if we're comfortable with them sort of bouncing out of that, what was an artificially sized sign band by the facade designer, then I just want to double check with everyone.
I'm comfortable being a script type font, especially breaking that line, I think works at an angle, you know, because it's a script for me anyway.
Okay. All right, so if there's no other.
Are those, I'm sorry. I just had a question. Is that a picture of the new color scheme?
It's close to pretty much what's up there. Yeah, there's two shades of gray. You know, the pretty much the band in the middle, it's slightly lighter, and then the top and bottom stripes darker.
And all of that's above that canopy, Susan, if you remember, which is sort of that darker line
Mhm.
above
Yep.
the window.
Right, I just was questioning, maybe I'm on the wrong side of the building, that we had talked about somewhere on this building, there was gonna be white. Maybe, was it over towards the cookie place?
Yeah, it's more to the right. Yeah.
Okay. I just was hoping they don't end up white on white.
Yeah, no, this section is, have they already done this painting?
When I was down there was the painting was done. They were trying to get this paint before it got too cold.
Okay, I thought that they were doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else, Susan?
No. I think
Okay,
that's nice.
all right. So then, if there are no other questions, comments, I would take a motion to approve the signage for 1257 Highland Avenue as submitted.
I'll make the motion.
I second the motion.
All right, we come to the vote. Steve,
Yes.
Millie,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
and the chair approves. Great. Thanks, guys, for coming in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did need me any more for this? Anything?
No, we're all set.
All right, perfect. Enjoy your holidays.
Thanks, Al. Take care.
Good luck, Mr. Conrad. Look
Thank
forward
you,
to
appreciate
seeing
it.
Thank you.
you. The next is 880 Highland Ave, Blue on Highland. Applying for a revised facade change. Lisa included in it our last approval, which was simply for windows, replacing that small section of facade, and now they need to evidently adding an egress. So I'm going to stop. Let everybody back in. So Scott, do you want to take us through this?
Sure. Would you like me to put it
Yeah,
up?
why don't you put up and talk about the pieces you want to.
Okay. All right. So the elevation itself and the materials being used are still the same as what was proposed before. The only change here is that speaking with Joe, the building inspector, when we did a walkthrough, there was a couple things that we both agreed on that made sense by keeping the door in place. It's not going to be used as a main entrance. We're still going to be focusing on the main entrance of Blue on the corner, being the main entrance. But we had thought that it would be a good idea to keep that second entrance in the front being used as an ADA compliant entrance if needed. Because of the way that you're going to be entering that space through the bar, it can get a little busy in there. So we both agreed that, it's a good idea that if need be, handicap accessible with a wheelchair or something like that, they could enter through that doorway. With that also with that being said, it is going to be ADA compliant going from the two spaces. So the fire exits, there'll be two different points. There'll actually be 3 points of egress. There'll be the one to the rear of that space. There'll be the one to the front of that space, which we're going to keep, and then there'll also be the main entrance. So there'll be 3 different egresses there for fire exit if need be. We are going to keep the same window that we proposed before, same materials. It will be that black aluminum. And the front is actually going to be still in line with the same elevation as the existing restaurant. And that window will open up, those 2 panes will open up accordion inside, just like the existing Blue.
All right, could you go down another page to the new
Yep.
image? There you go. That's one more. There you go. Thanks. Okay, so you can see that it's really a revision to instead of having a continuous wall of window, if you looked at the plan, they've recessed that doorway back.
And you can see it a little better in this next
Yeah.
view
Oh,
right here. This is the existing, which is at a diagonal angle, which we're gonna bump out, make it flush, and you can see, I believe it's in right here,
Yep.
where it goes straight across, and it actually the door is still gonna be able to be opened out, but it is recessed based on the sidewalk and the door not opening out into the sidewalk. So that's why that's still recessed in there, so that it hits the wall and it doesn't open up right into the sidewalk as somebody's walking down.
Okay, I'll turn to the board. Millie, any questions or comments?
No questions specifically. Sorry, which one, could you help me understand, orient, which one was the second door here?
Right over here.
This one, right? Okay, okay.
Yep.
And then the corner entry is like up to the north.
Yep, it
that
comes
it's
in right
cut
in
out. Okay.
this entrance right here.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I
this
think the
is
view
this is the
nice.
back exit that will go out to the back parking lot.
Okay, okay. Yeah, and so I guess like would anyone be able to kind of enter through any of these doors at any time, or is there going to be like signage or something that specifically says
Yeah, so
inaccessible entry?
based on the fire code, these are emergency exit only.
Uh-huh.
These both. So
I see.
this door will be a push bar door.
I see.
To
Okay.
get out if needed.
And you did mention that the existing door is still accessible, right? You're just like
Yes,
adding one more that's going to be accessible. Okay.
Yep. If we needed to open this up to get
Right.
chairs in here, we could come this way rather than coming through the bar area, whereas there's
Got it.
stools here, tables here, and sometimes
Mhm.
some standing room here.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
Okay, Steve?
It's just one quick question. I can't remember. Is there going to be a continuation of the awning from the main awning?
Yes, we had that in the original picture. The
Yeah.
signage is coming down. And then there will be just the continuation of the awnings. Let's see if it's in here.
I'm not sure it's in there.
I don't think it's in this rendering. I think it's in the other approval. We did have it approved as far as the awnings are straight across here with the logo on it, and I think we were able to put the logo on it and no wording.
Great. Then I have no other questions.
Susan?
No questions.
All right, well, I think it looks fine. You might just double check with the building inspector so that if he wants that as an accessible entrance if it needs to be, there is sort of a pull that by the door handle on the outside. There are some requirements for some clear area, but I realize he's just sort of this is kind of a hybrid of that. This is not really a required entrance. He's asking for it. So, but I would just confirm that he's okay with the clearance to the pull side of that door.
Sure.
That's just a suggestion.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think it looks fine. And we had seen the awnings before. The packages that we have, the last page, if the members want to look, has the last approval. So you can see that awning is in place, Steve.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So if there are no other questions, I would take a motion to approve the 880 Highland Ave revised facade changes as submitted.
I would make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we come to the vote. Steve?
Yes.
Millie?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
And Mark, I'm yes as well. All right, thank you, Scott.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate everything. Have a great holiday.
You too.
Thank you.
can you give our screen back for us?
Yeah, I'm gonna there we go. All right.
Never had anyone sign off without doing it before.
Yeah, right.
You know,
I was like, I
avoid
gotta
the
make sure
first.
I get off that.
It's always
All
a
right.
first.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
The next item is 1502 Highland Avenue. Kimba Fit, applying for signage.
Yes, and I think this is the smoothest meeting I've been to, so hopefully we can keep that streak going. Let me share. Okay, so this is the location. This is an older picture, so currently that Lisa's sign is not there. But we'll go right into. So it is a simple aluminum bar frame, kind of matches, actually. Yeah, if I go here, it matches the others on that building and across the green over on Chapel Street. Can't get over there apparently. But yes, so just a simple aluminum bar frame, printed vinyl graphics, pretty simple, like I said, going right where the old sign used to be. Will be held on with the L brackets, galvanized hardware. And again, just showing all the different bar frame type signs in the area. And again, here's the current existing conditions. And location. And that is pretty much it. Open for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Why don't we start with Susan?
My only question is the background color. What? I know it's white, but is it?
I don't think it's straight white. I think it's kind of a little bit off-white, similar to this black sheep theme.
Yeah, your boss knows us better than to do that. So I hope he talked to you.
That was my only question. The sign seems okay to me.
Okay, Millie?
No specific question. I guess like the only thing I noticed here is that what is the sign, I guess like centered on the two kind of the door and the window panel? It seems like so, right? Like it was
I believe it will be
logical.
centered on the awning.
I see,
The
okay.
door is kind of off center. So, but it would be centered on the tenant
I
space.
see. Okay. Yeah, don't have any other questions or comments otherwise.
Okay, Steve?
And speaking of centered, my only question is, since the heights of the signs are they're varied a little bit, that it's be centered with the sign next to it, or?
Yeah, as she asked that, I noticed that it's not centered vertically here, but it will be horizontally centered.
Okay.
With, the signs next door.
Great. Okay, thank you. That's it for me.
Okay, I had the same question, that just that we, they're not necessarily the exact same size, so lining them horizontally would be center aligned horizontally would be a requirement. So you didn't note that on there. So I think I'd like to make that a condition, just so that we make sure that it's on the record of what that is, and that you also don't specify the background color.
I am noticing though that it looks like they might be bottom aligned. Because Coldwell Banker looks a little bit taller.
Yeah, well, I think in your case, we're going to want to center it.
Okay.
Because I believe we asked Coldwell to do that same thing, and that may be something we get fixed with them or with the next applicant that moves in there.
That is fine for ours, for sure.
Okay, so I'm the take a motion to approve the signage for 1502 Highland Ave with the two conditions that the background color be an off-white and that the center line aligns with horizontally with the center line of the adjacent sign to the left.
I would like to make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we come to the vote. Steve,
Yes,
Millie,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes,
and I am yes. Okay, thanks, Tom.
Yes, thank you all. Have a good one, and same as the others, if we don't talk, have a happy holidays.
Thank you.
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and the next item on the agenda is 63 Kendrick Street, formerly 155 Fourth Avenue. I guess they're turning the entrance somehow. So this is for a site plan review. So I will turn it over to George and your team.
Thank you, Mark. Much appreciated. Good evening, members of the board. George Junta Jr., the attorney for the applicant, and is indicated we've submitted for site plan review. And so as a part of the process, we're before you for a review of the architectural and design elements. So the property is in the New England Business Center zoning district. It's at the corner of Kendrick Street and 4th Avenue. Years ago, it was known as 155 4th Avenue, but the building was substantially renovated and redeveloped in 1997 pursuant to a site plan review. And at that time, they did make a presence and noted the address of 63 Kendrick. The building actually has multiple entrances, and the 4th Avenue entrance really almost served as a back entrance. So functionally, for a long time, it's been 63 Kendrick, and you can actually see the 63 from Kendrick Street, as you're going by, and there's a definite street presence there. So even though we're sort of officially saying it is now 100% 63 Kendrick, it's actually been 63 Kendrick for a bit. All right. So anyway, so the building, as indicated, was substantially redeveloped back in 1997. And it really hasn't been changed very much since then. There were two minor amendments to the site plan approval from 97, one in 98, and then another one in 2006. But those were really minor sort of technical amendments. It didn't really change the building. So it's essentially been the way you see it today is the way it's been since 97. Same thing for the landscaping and the parking areas. The property consists of a large building. It's basically over 100,000 square foot building with a smaller parking area in the front and a much larger parking area in the back. The front parking area is accessed off of Kendrick Street, and the larger rear parking area is accessed off of 4th Avenue. So the property was somewhat recently sold, and the new owners want to basically, rehab, renovate, and reposition the building for the current market. And with that, there are a number of changes that they want to do. I'm going to go through them really quickly, and then I'm going to turn it over to our project architect and let them go in detail with respect to the materials and colors and so on. So the changes are, number one, adding two small additions, one in the front and one in the back. The one in the front involves not just the addition of the building, but also a reconfiguration of the front of the building to create a new sort of prime entry area with a nice streetscape. The one in the back is going to provide a vestibule kind of entry area off the back. There is an interior courtyard that is currently an open sort of void in the middle of the building. That will be closed in and made to be floor space inside the building. There's an existing loading area in the northeast kind of right rear corner that's going to be reconfigured to create a more versatile loading dock area. A new loading area will also be added in the northwest corner. That's sort of the rear left corner of the building. Then a part of the building consists of 2 floors. Most of the building single floor, but a part of the building in the back is 2 floors. And in that 2-floor section, a portion of the floor space is going to be removed. So there will be chunk of the building that will be open from the first floor all the way up to the ceiling of the second floor. So the net result is we're actually going to be decreasing, even with the infill of the existing courtyard area, we're actually going to be decreasing the square footage of the building from almost 106,000 square feet down to 97,886 square feet. All right, and then the last thing is, or last two things are, the exterior appearance of the building is going to be refreshed and updated, and the landscaping is going to be updated as well. And in connection with the landscaping and all these other changes, the parking areas are going to be resurfaced, reconstructed, and updated. So that's sort of the quick overview. And now I think David Silverman is going to take over from STA Design and walk you through the various colors and materials and so on.
Thank you, George. Can everybody hear me? Okay, I'll share the screen. So I will, not sure if you want Bill to cover the site stuff, but I can go quickly over it as well. Kendrick Street is here, 4th Avenue is here. So this is the building, and in our submission, we had all of the distances from the adjacent buildings and so forth included. This is, and you'll continue to see it, the interior courtyard, which, as George mentioned, is going to be removed and infilled. The survey of the site showing existing parking. That, yeah. Survey of the new site plan. Go back a second. Currently, well, there's photographs that I'll show you as well, but currently there are two entrances off of the Kendrick Street side, one over here, and we're going to remove both of them and have one central entrance from the Kendrick Street parking lot. The rear of the building has one main entrance. We are going to renovate that and modernize it. And then there is a side entrance from 4th Avenue with stairs and so forth. Again, I'll show you photographs, but we are proposing to remove that and kind of further develop the loading dock over here. So this is the updated site plan, shows the single entrance here. Bill will get into the landscaping and the layout over here. We have two loading bays. There's only one there now. And then we have a compactor, a dumpster area next to that over here at the loading dock. Again, this is the existing loading dock. We're simply kind of making it more modern and kind of cleaning it up and making it safer, and also just kind of, making it more useful for folks in the building. We're adding, this is the area of the building where there will be a double height space, as George mentioned. So in order to kind of make things easy for a potential tenant that might have this space, we are adding one loading bay over in this corner of the building. Grading, drainage, which we're not doing a lot with, but Bill can touch on that. Existing landscape, new landscape. I will let Bill talk much more smarter than I am about all these beautiful trees. So this is the existing layout of the building currently. We are basically proposing to demo and got everything in here. We are reconfiguring some bathrooms and so forth, but there's not a lot left inside the building that we're going to keep. Second floor existing. Again, this is the area that will be kind of demoing to make a double height space. Roof plan. These are the existing elevations. Again, off of Kendrick Street. These are the two existing entrances we'll be removing. And then on 4th, this is the side that will be removing this entrance and removing this area. So this is the entrance off of Kendrick Street. You see the first entrance here. Elevation off of 4th Ave. So the building was renovated in 97, 98. And the exterior of the building is all EIFS. with some granite inlays, so a lot of joints. We've been working closely with the folks at Stowe to talk about how we might kind of clean up the existing joints and save existing expansion joints in the system. And so we're gonna, get rid of a lot of the joints, as you'll see in the updated plans, and put a new coat over the entire building, change the colors, etc. Also going to be replacing all the windows. And then the other thing is, you see how there's kind of a lot of, there's some cornices and some bumping up and down. We're going to clean all of that up too, so there's straight lines, much more modern going across the facade. And some existing photos. This is the rear parking lot. We're going to take advantage of the steel that's within this existing entrance and, utilize some of that for our new entrance, but it will look very different than this. So this is the updated or the new floor plan before a tenant moves in. Again, you're seeing the new main entrance to the building from Kendrick Street, the new rear entrance here, basic, a nice glass clean vestibule, part of a double height lobby here. And then, as I said before, we're cleaning up some of the restrooms, adding some new restrooms. All these other spaces that are left over are water, electric, and various utility rooms, IT, and janitor's closets and so forth for building infrastructure. And then this is the area where we'll do the double height space. Roof plan. So this then starts to get at kind of what we're proposing for the exterior of the building. So working from the Kendrick Street side, again, the main entrances or the entrances were here and here. And we are, as I mentioned, we're replacing all the windows on the building. The front entrance becomes curtain wall glass with some black, and I'll show you a separate slide that has the finishes on it, but it's a black Aluca bond or metal panel wrapping here. And then on this part of the building, it's going to be from this where the 63 is over, it's going to be a gray Aluca bond. Again, new windows. And then as you come along to the right, we're basically going to use a different color on the ephes so that the corner building at 4th and Kendrick that's lower than the rest of the building kind of breaks the rhythm of the building, but doesn't make the building look so long. So basically introducing another color at the corner of 4th and Kendrick. Facing 117 Kendrick, this whole side here is blocked by a lot of existing trees we're going to keep. It's very narrow, adjacent to the parking lot next door, so we're not doing a ton there other than just kind of cleaning up the ephes. And then on the 4th Ave side, again, this is the low part that I mentioned was a darker gray. And then as we kind of get over to the double height part of the building, we've started to introduce between windows infill of the Aluca bond panels. So basically you've got like a dark Aluca bond with the gray ephes or the off-white ephes. And then again, this is the entrance at the back. For the entrance at the back, we use some of the same language that were taken from the front of the building, where you've got the black Aluca bond wrap, some black storefront, changing the windows up here so they're larger. And from the interior lobby that will be double height now, this will all read as like one glass plane to kind of be more welcoming. And, for people that are coming there every day to work, that park in the parking lot. This is the loading area I mentioned to the double height space tenant. And then we have and what we're doing for this loading dock and also for the loading dock off of 4th Ave, you can kind of see it here, but we're doing tailboard loading. So that doesn't exist today. So we're going to be sloping down and allowing trucks to back in and have straight deliveries again to increase safety. You can see that here too. Signage right at this point is very simple. Basically the number 63 up on the corner of the entrance and at the back of the building on the canopy. Nothing else being proposed at this time. Again, these are the finishes that I was mentioning, the kind of the silver, matte black, more of a metallic black, and then some of the light fixtures and bollards. And then here's some sampling of the light gray ephes and the darker gray ephes that would be on the facade of the building. And then last, I'll just touch on, we have been working with, and I know Bill's going to talk about the site stuff, but we have been talking about, we've been doing a lot of photometrics to make sure that we're meeting the NEEDM ordinances for lighting, as you know, making sure nothing gets off to the adjacent parcels. So I'll let Bill talk about do you want to share your screen, Bill?
Thanks, David. Yeah, I can share my screen. And let's see. There we go. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Great. And is the rumor true that we have 2 landscape architects on the board?
One landscape designer, landscape company, and one landscape architect.
Excellent. It's nice to be in a little bit of a majority. Normally it's architects. So big picture wise, there's sort of 3 very important sort of parts of this from a site development standpoint. So the planting layer, incredibly vital to the project, how it sits currently. The planting is primarily defining Kendrick Street and 4th Avenue. And so we've taken a hard look at that, and there's a significant number of trees that are in decline on the site, if you guys have been there. There's existing Bradford pear trees that are in the parking lots that are in severe decline and need to be removed. So essentially what we're doing is we're editing out the trees that are having some declination issues, and we're replanting the site with canopy trees, with some columnar trees in the parking lot, and then a new sort of layer, sort of ground plane layer that is very parking centric. There's a lot of asphalt and parking here, so we're thinking about salt tolerant and heat tolerant plants. The other aspect to this is that we're thinking about a monochromatic palette for the site, so we can highlight the planting. And then finally, the 2 sort of most important landscape spaces for the project are at as David mentioned, the courtyard at the front of the building to create a sense of arrival and gathering, as well as in the back of the parking lot that's here, that creates a sequence that feels more pedestrian oriented rather than sort of car centric. You can see here there's existing pine trees along this property line that are being preserved, and we're bringing in a new layer of columnar red maples that will be in the parking area. The function of the columnar habit for the trees is so they do not get hit by any of the larger vehicles that are entering the site. We're planting at these 2 signs. We have a sign here. You guys can see my pointer. We have a sign located here and a sign located here that's in 2 small gardens that sort of create a threshold into the parking area. There's a continuous sort of Coosa dogwood planting that's along 4th Street that's quite beautiful. We're extending that to get us to the curb cut that's here. And we're recreating that as well along Kendrick Street. This is more just planting call outs. The main entrance to the building, to the renovated building, is very important to us from to create that sense of arrival, to sort of say, this is a new space. we're trying to think about this in very contemporary terms, in terms of the surfaces and the materiality. So the entrance is composed of hexagonal pavers, concrete pavers. There's brick pavers that are also defining these pedestrian sort of connection points. This is ADA parking, ADA access into the courtyard with benches and canopy trees. There's a slight change in the selection of the plant species to try to make this feel a little bit more have a more of a residential feeling to it. So there's boxwoods that are being planted in here, as well as various perennials as well. The walls are going to be composed of board form concrete as its surface with a cap of granite. The granite also reappears at the steps to the entry to the building. The building is up about, let's say, approximately 18 inches. So this connector here is not a ramp, but it's a sloped walkway. So when the patrons or the pedestrians enter the courtyard here, they can access the front door with this sloped walk. In terms of the palette of trees, we are mixing in some green giant arborvitaes for screening, but as you guys know, space is very important to us. So we're trying to minimize the footprint of the actual tree sort of volume or mass. So you can see we're proposing Taylor junipers, which have a very thin footprint, as well as the Armstrong maples that are here. And we're using the Coosa dogwoods, they are currently existing on the site, and we're trying to maintain that language that's on the site as well. We always think about seasonality. And so we have a bloom order from spring all the way through the summer, and then also sort of highlighting the fall months with some of the hardened off grasses and red twig dogwoods. You can see the hex paver here. This is not the actual pattern itself, but this is the color range that we're using. The granite cap is going to be a woodberry gray. The board form concrete is giving definition to the courtyard space in the front. Concrete pavers, a mix of concrete pavers of gray as well as black in the front entry sequence. The woodberry gray sort of revisits itself with the steps to the front door, as well as the benches in the courtyard. We have bike racks. And then we have a drip edge where we're using pea stone, but again, trying to maintain that sort of gray tonality for the site, as well as river stone. You can see the bollards that also enhance that sense of arrival to the site. We're using the arborvitaes to screen the refuse area. So the views from the street, you won't be able to see the refuse area on the site. So that's the reason to have a more robust type of plant to create that screening effect. There's EV chargers as well. I'm going to pan back up just to show you where those are. I neglected to point those out. They're located here in the back. We currently are showing 5 of them in the back as well. And you can see this is where the arborvitae hedge will be planted here to help with the screening, as well as the transformers here. And I think I'll keep it at that for now. And I'm looking forward to hearing any questions that the commission may have.
Okay, George, I just want to clarify a couple of procedural things, and then we'll have the board questions and comments. He mentioned signage a couple times. There's a picture, there's some signage imagery shown. Are you gonna do the signage applications at a later date?
Yes, we'll go get through planning first and then
Okay, good.
back in the signage. And just on that topic, just to call out, as Bill just pointed out, there are 2 sort of monument signs. So we'll definitely have to come back. And it looks like those will, at least one, if not both, will require a variance or special permit.
Special permit, okay. All right, good.
I don't
Well,
think,
looks good.
just on the signage, I don't think anybody mentioned that we're getting rid of the sign on the corner of Fourth and Kendrick.
Okay. Okay, generally on this site layout, I think I can see how you're trying to improve access into that loading dock by giving the trucks a place to turn and get lined up a little better. So I think that's a positive. I did have a question on the site lighting. You know, there was a fixture shown. Are there only 3 of them in the back of that rear parking lot? Is that what I'm seeing? Is that all that it will take?
Mark, I believe that is correct. Yeah, I believe there
Okay.
are 3, and then there's wall packs in the attached to the building.
Yeah, and the front is all the wall packs and general illumination with the bollards and things.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Bill, just to interject, there are actually 5 poles in the back.
Okay.
3 in the islands and then 2 along 4th Ave, shining back in.
Oh, there they are. Okay, I
Yeah.
see them. Thank you. I missed those. Okay, good. All right, I want to start with the board. Millie, do you want to start?
Sure. Yeah. Overall, I think this is a huge improvement over what's there right now. I know that area very well, and go to that parking lot all the time. So I know the building and the parking lot and the spaces around it. So again, really commend the team on the great work. Just cleaning up the facade and just like cleaning up the site. Like it's gonna create a huge improvement, and just kind of like how the facade treatment is being modernized, and there's kind of this kind of just clear with the colors, like just the way things are kind of clearly identified in terms of the volumes look really great. Overall, again, great work. With the facade, like I would say in the proposed facade, like I think the grays and the whites and the blacks, like it's gonna look really nice. Like trying to get to the elevation, the proposed elevation, the one of the facades, like where I think there was like the matte black panels proposed. I felt like at some points, like, the black is like a nice accent that you all are doing, and I really appreciate that. But I did feel like, it might look a little bit too busy, and I don't know, it's because it's, small elevation. In reality, it might feel fine. Like I again, like appreciate that you're trying to kind of break that a big long facade, with a little bit of a play of, third color, but maybe just gonna review that, like if it's feels too busy. And let's see, besides that, like on site plan, overall, again, I appreciate just kind of removing some of the Bradford beers from the parking lot. It's definitely not great. And it seems like a bunch of the birches along Kenrick Street is being removed. And so I'm assuming like it's just kind of declining right now.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Okay. And again, like this might be how things gonna develop, like as you were gonna, iterating the site plan. But I did notice that the amount of sidewalk from what's existing versus what's proposed has decreased a little bit. And again, it might be a function of like how your site layout is, where the entries are. But again, just something I noticed. I also see a lot of lawn areas, towards 4th Avenue and Kenrick Streets, like especially like right at the entry where you're like trying to create this like courtyard moment. So I would just kind of encourage like rethinking that lawn a little bit. I don't know if there's like, you all chose to add like all that lawn due to maintenance issues or anything. But if there's, if you're trying to create a garden kind of space, adding back a little bit more planting. And, again, it doesn't have to be anything fussy, just, even something low growing like Carex, Pennsylvanica, like just something that gives a little bit of texture and like, not just like lawn, because lawn, it just like feels like it creates this like hard edge, like specifically the site context, right? Like it's kind of like all next to this like wooded area in the Fourth Ave, and then Cutler Park right across. So just, just kind of, responding to that context a little bit would be useful. But I do understand maintenance would be an issue as
Miley?
well. Just kind of balancing the two would be great.
What area? I'm sorry. What area? Can you see my screen?
Yeah. I'm talking about the Kenrick Street entry. So I see that
Please.
there's like a bunch of lawn areas proposed. Even like right along the facade, right? Like on the left of that parking lot. Let me
Right
see if
here.
I can annotate. Yeah. So there's lawn here. All this I think is lawn. From looking at the site plan.
They
So
pretty
I
much
would just
have
like
lawn across.
encourage rethinking that.
Millie, you're right, they are showing lawn pretty
Right.
much all along the streetscapes,
Yeah.
except for planting beds, which are delineated.
And I do also see that a lot of all your canopy trees is the Armstrong maple. So I would again encourage maybe a little bit more variety, specifically at the courtyard. Like I think like if you're trying to kind of create a street presence, then the row of Acer, Armstrong maple along that, like I think is fine. But the courtyard, like if you're trying to maybe create a special moment, it could be something else. And in addition to that, like the final thing I'll say is like, maybe this is something you have considered, like maybe think of the soil volume, the courtyard, kind of plant bed volume, soil volume, if it's enough for the trees. And, just like making sure that giving, these kind of plants and trees like the best kind of opportunity to grow and thrive.
For sure. Thank you for your feedback. That's great.
Susan?
Hi, thank you. Well, I think Millie said much of what I was gonna say, so I don't wanna repeat. I do think within the context of, I think it's Nahattan Park on one side and Cutler Park on the other side, there's an opportunity, not a big one, but a little opportunity to kind of connect those two pieces a little bit through this property and reduce the fragmentation a little bit. So more diversity of the canopy trees would be good. Personally, I'd like to see all the lawn sort of turned into ground cover, or Millie mentioned Carex is a good plant to think about, but there's some really good lists around of lawn replacement. And Needham is currently sort of starting to engage in noise reduction, so not having to listen to lawnmowers while you're working in there would be nice, especially kind of pointless strips of lawn. It'd be different if, I don't know, there was a dog park or a place to play or something, but anytime we can reduce these weird strips of lawn, I think there's so many other native plants you could plant in. Again, trying to connect the two wildlife areas on both sides of this building would be a really good start, I think. Adding more native plants into this. And even though I love the Coosa dogwood and I think it's a beautiful tree, I think there are moments we could use some native understory trees here and get away from the Coosa dogwood. So those were my sort of big remarks. Diversifying the trees, I think, is a big thing. And Um, oh, I'm glad you explained sort of the courtyard and trying to make it more residential. I like that idea of sort of welcoming little spots to hang out. But having a maintenance company myself, and I know I'm a broken record in these meetings, boxwoods create huge problems with maintenance in that they catch every disease in the sun, and you can actually replace them with Ilex glabra, which they've got a zillion cultivars now. They look exactly like boxwoods. You can get them small, medium, and large. You don't have to prune them. Again, we don't have to listen to buzzing going on, all the buzzing of boxwoods all the time. So I would replace all the boxwoods with Ilex glabra, strongbox, or I think it's gembox and strongbox. And you'll get the same look and feel with a native plant. And I'm sure you've thought about this, but there just seems like an awful lot of parking. Is there any, this is a rhetorical question, but any way to add more plants to the asphalt jungle would be a good thing.
I'll throw that in there, and then the planning board can yell at us. That'll be good. But I think there are numbers in the books that they're trying to meet.
Right. I think that's it. One more thing about lawn is that, again, we're sort of very near the Charles River there, and I was noticing all the drainage is kind of going underground. I don't know where it's going, but if you want to have a nice lawn, they're usually fertilizing it and dumping chemicals in it. And again, squeezed in between the Hanton and Cutler Park, I would love to see something else that doesn't require all that chemical to keep it green and lush.
All right, thank you. Steve?
It looks good. I like the facade tones, the changes. A lot of the changes I could see seem to add to both the building, to the function, and are practical. So I have nothing really to add there. And as far as the landscaping, I really don't have anything more I could add except for one thing. So it's not just appearance. I'm always into people wanting to enjoy it. Add benches, places for people to sit when they get outside, especially you're going to be having, large trees, comfortable, but just to make it people friendly. That's all. That's really all I can add. It's
Okay.
already been said and more.
Okay. So now I wonder if you're regretting the idea that you liked having two landscape architects to come out to review the work.
It makes it for a better project, for sure.
Yeah. Well, as you can hear, we have become strong advocates for reducing lawn in areas where lawn is not a play area, or someplace it's going to be a lot of foot traffic and people are relaxing. And for all the reasons that Susan and Millie noted, the noise, the maintenance factors, the watering issues. I assume we're irrigating this
Correct.
site?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm not going to add to that other than to explain that that's become a focus for us. And so I think George has probably heard it before on some of his other projects. I want to talk a little bit about the building changes. I think you're trying to update it to a more simplified volumetric sort of design. That existing building is highly articulated with both three-dimensionally and two-dimensionally, with all the lines and the color changing. And it was very much a well-done project in its era, I think. I just it looks like we're going back to sort of a monolithic facades. At times, some of I'm thinking more specifically about 4th Street, that lower section of the building that looks like it's just a very flat facade with no articulation at all. And but I know I've been there, and everyone knows that's a larger building than it looks in these drawings. Did you think of having any sort of linear, some of the line work that they had before in this new design? Or because it looks like there's nothing, it's really just a flat wall with the punched windows now.
And this is, sorry, this is focused on 4th Ave over here?
It would be, no, it'd be the second, so it'd be the northeast, yeah, parallel to 4th Ave, drawing number 2.
Yeah, so I think from our standpoint over there, there are some trees, and it's not the certainly not the focal point of the building. So
Yeah.
overall, I think we were trying to really simplify what was there, as you mentioned, essentially create the clean EFS surfaces where we could, and then at the more central points, entries, more visible areas, add to the aesthetic, and try and brighten up those areas with the ACM metal panels that you see focused on the entries, and then on the double 2-story areas at the back, which are more visible. So I think the thinking on 4th Ave was it's not as noticeable of an area of the building, and so really just to kind of clean it up and tone it down and make the smooth roof surface, roof line at the top.
Okay. That's the other question is on all these pieces. Are you going to have some sort of coping at the top of that wall? What is the cap to this EFS material to protect the top of the wall?
So yes, there would be a roof coping at the top, and it would be a typical roofing detail at the top of a facade or a roof line. And it would really just blend in with what with the color palette that you see there.
Okay, so it's not gonna be like an 8-inch coping that's gonna be done in black or something. It's just,
Absolutely not.
you can just try and minimize its look. Okay. Okay. Looks good. Well, I like, certainly like the entrance designs. I think they're interesting. They fit with the new approach that you're taking. And Millie pointed out also on the 2-story portion, it's sort of a scattershot approach to adding these panels, but it's, I can see you're trying to do something. It might look like a little Morse code punch card or something when you're all done, which could be interesting. But are those all existing windows? Or
Yes,
some? Okay,
they are.
that's what I thought. Okay. All right, so I guess, yeah, those are my comments. I share Millie's sort of wonder about how that's going to come out, but I don't know how, if you want to take that approach, I don't know how else to tell you to do it that would make any difference. So I think you're going to have to risk it and see. Maybe less, you could consider, if you want to consider less contrast between the wall color and the dots, or are you really looking for that sort of punch of randomness to those 2 elevations?
I mean, at this point, we have studied it quite a bit in 3D, and we like the way it looks.
Okay, okay. Yeah, we're not seeing that. That's true.
Yeah, I think Mark, also to your point about 4th Ave, the idea behind those accents between the windows, especially at the back, where you have the light gray EFS, it was feeling a little too plain back there. And that's a high visibility area, especially when you're walking and approaching the building from the parking lot. So the thought was the accents between the windows would give it a bit of character versus just the plain EFS at a focal point of the building.
Okay. Well, that's good answers. So that's helpful. I don't have anything else. Does anybody have another follow-up? Okay, so what we do in this site plan review is we will send a memo to the planning board that will be included in their review, and, you know, as our suggestions, or, I mean, we're not really making any requirements here as far as an approval, but they may incorporate some of our comments into their final decision. And you will be able to discuss that with them at your hearing. So George, the one last thing do you know when you're on the planning board schedule?
We should be on for January 21st.
All right, so I don't have to write this tomorrow.
That's right.
Okay, great. Okay, well, it looks great. As I recall, a while back, we had a very hard time getting the previous owners to do any landscaping. And it was a real push by the planning board and by the design review board to get that installed in sort of the early 2000s. So we appreciate the work that you're doing. I think it's going to be a nice building when you're done, and a good resident for the town.
Thank you.
All right.
So
Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, well, that was nice. So the next item is the minutes of November 18th. Are there any questions or comments?
No,
No,
I have a question or a small comment. My
Okay.
last name is not spelled correctly. Instead of Bradham, it should be N as in Nancy.
Sorry about that. I didn't catch that. So we will amend the notes to reflect proper spelling of Millie's name. Any other comments? Okay, so I take a motion to approve the November 18th minutes as amended.
I'll make the motion.
I second the motion.
And we come to the vote. Steve,
Yes.
Millie,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
and I, yes. Thanks for catching that, Millie. I don't have anything to add. Our next meeting is January 13th, which is the night before I'm supposed to go to New Zealand. So Steve, you might be called into duty.
Okay, if someone else would like the opportunity, you might enjoy it.
Yeah. We'll work everybody in.
I vote for Steve.
So Lisa, is there a reason we couldn't do the week before? We looked at that.
Right.
Oh, that's right. You
I'm
weren't.
away.
Yeah, you
I
weren't
would
available.
be, yeah,
Yep, that's
I
fine.
wouldn't be here to be prepping it all for it.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Well, let's stick with that. Again, I'm still here, so we'll see. But if it's not a massive agenda, I'll jump in. But
The only thing that's of import is the CVS window graphics,
yeah.
which,
And we've already gone through that, so it's set up just to look at the imagery and
yeah.
get that settled. So I think that should be fairly straightforward. Okay, so I would take a motion to adjourn.
Happy holidays, everybody.
I'll make the
Happy
motion to
holidays.
adjourn.
Okay.
What, Steve?
I made the motion to adjourn.
Oh, I second the motion.
Okay, we come to the vote. Steve,
Yes.
Millie,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
and I'm yes. All right, thanks. And thanks for jumping on the motioning thing so quickly, you two. That was great.
I know how to take a hint now. I've learned.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I was late coming in. I don't know what the problem was. I was in the